We'll get to the Browns' loss to the Broncos in just a second, but first, Patriots-Ravens. Lamar Jackson avoiding the defenders to get the first down. So good, Chris Canty.
Jenna, that's just like having a cheat code on Madden. I mean, just the things that Lamar Jackson can do. He's playing at a different speed than everybody else. It's really unfair when you look at it.
And this is why he avoids the big hit despite running so much. He gets sideways like that and makes you miss.
Raiders and Lions. Daryl Worley making a great one-handed interception right there.
I don't know, just to have the presence of mind to get your head around and locate the football in that situation. Usually corners just try to play through the hands of the receiver, but he somehow, some way spins around and is able to get his hands on it and come down with the interception.
This was a great game, too. Very entertaining game. Tough loss for the Lions. They come 1 yard short.
It seems like we're saying that every week.
They've had a bunch of tough losses this year. A bunch of them.
All right, Chiefs and Vikings, and Matt Moore finding Sammy Watkins for an incredible one-handed catch. I think I heard Nick from 400 blocks away where I live get excited after this one.
This was a great win for Kansas City.
That's what I heard, Kenny.
A brutal loss for the Vikings, who could have tied for first place in the division given the Green Bay loss. This was, the story of this game wasn't Matt Moore, but that's a great play by Sammy Watkins. Good to have him back.
Yeah, the story of that game was that Kansas City Chiefs run defense, holding Dalvin Cook and that Minnesota Vikings run game in check.
1,000%.
Broncos-Browns, Cortland Sutton going full Superman for this touchdown catch.
You watch Cortland Sutton get into the end zone, and he's able to hold on to the ball, laying out, making a play for his quarterback who hadn't started a game since 2016.
I could not believe. Listen, I bet the Browns. I will never make that mistake again. Shame on me. But I could not believe this catch. I don't even know if that's a good throw, but I know that is an amazing catch.
All right, sticking with this game. Browns down 5 in the fourth, 4th and 4. Baker can't hit Jarvis Landry, gives the Broncos the ball back with no timeouts. So watch this replay. Odell was wide open, calling for it. Baker didn't even see him. OBJ reportedly heard saying on the sideline after the play, I can't get the ball to save my life. Cleveland loses the game. They fall to 2-6 on the season. Nick, how disastrous has this season been for the Cleveland Browns?
Worse than anyone possibly could have imagined, even the biggest Browns skeptic, one of whom might be sitting directly to my left. Nobody could have thought it would be this. That Baker would play in a game against a guy who hasn't taken a meaningful snap since the Liberty Bowl 4 years ago and be the worst of the two quarterbacks on the field.
That's what you said Friday.
No, nobody could have thought that while Freddie Kitchens, we knew, would have his first-year coaching issues. We were joking during the break about being confused by daylight savings time and the time change. Freddie Kitchens, I would imagine, is confused by daylight savings time and the time change. He is yet to realize the value of timeouts. The team is yet to understand the critical moments that swing football games. We always talk about, well, if you did better in one-score games, this is a one-score game league, Canny. The vast majority of these games come down to one score, which means they come down to a couple gotta-have-it moments. And as pardon me, as poorly...
Getting choked up. I understand.
I bet a lot of money on this team. As poorly as the Browns played, they were down 5 in the red zone, or I mean, on the mouth of the red zone, with an opportunity to win this football game. And 3rd and 1, Baker doesn't have the wherewithal to check out of a run play that was drawing dead from the word go. So he makes a mistake there, where they use 3 yards, and then it's compounded by Freddie Kitchens not understanding that while this 4th down play is critical, if we don't get it, as long as we don't burn our last time out, burn 40 seconds of the play clock and our last time out, we're still alive. We're still fine. They, of course, then burn the full play clock and their last time out, and they throw to Jarvis instead of the open Odell Beckham, and they're sending Beckham on a go route when you only need 4 damn yards, and Baker's never going to look for him. That's how you become the most disappointing team in football, and Baker's going to be the quarterback. Freddie Kitchens is not going to be the coach, but there are systemic issues with the Browns who can't blame the schedule anymore, because you weren't even facing the Fighting Joe Flacco's. You were facing Brandon Allen. and you lose that football game with your season on the line, like, give me a break.
Yeah, it's inexcusable. And you said it on Friday. You can't save your season with a win in Mile High, but you can keep it from imploding.
Yep.
But I think everybody that was on that Cleveland Browns bandwagon before the season started jumped off with this loss, because this is embarrassing. Clearly, this is an inferior team, the Denver Broncos, talent-wise, than what the Cleveland Browns are working with. But it comes back to execution. Now, I'll give the Browns a little bit of a backhanded compliment because they didn't turn the football over, and by and large, they didn't kill themselves with penalties.
The penalties were good.
But they were 1 for 5 in the red zone. You got to be better in the red zone when you have those opportunities. And on third downs, when the Denver Broncos defense had to get a stop, they were able to come up with it. And to me, that's the part of it with play calling from Freddie Kitchens. You've got to find a way to get the ball to your playmakers in those situations. I can understand why Odell Beckham is frustrated. Maybe he should figure out how to get into his head coach's ear rather than worried about what kind of cleats he's going to wear. But it's a situation right now with the Cleveland Browns. They don't have any leadership, and they don't have any answers. There's nowhere for them to turn right now. And so this thing is a powder keg right now. I'll be interested to see where it goes. But there's no way that anybody can look at this Cleveland Browns team and say they can salvage this year.
A couple years ago, when Alex Smith was still the quarterback of the Chiefs, they lost a playoff game where they scored 2 touchdowns and the Steelers scored 0. The Chiefs lost, and it seems like an algebra problem with no solution. Wait, how is that possible? The Browns lost a football game where they had 5 trips to the red zone and their opposition had 0. The Broncos, listen, the Broncos had a couple huge plays, which is why you can score without getting in the red zone.
But why did they have those huge plays? You look at the missed tackles on that Noah Fant touchdown pass. I mean, it was a 10-yard throw that ends up being a 75-yard gain. You cannot allow that to happen.
And the safety who missed that tackle, by the way, after the game was tweeting out death threats and being escorted out of the locker room. The Browns' first 5 trips to the red zone. 1st and 10 from the 17, field goal. 1st and goal from the 4, field goal. 1st and 10 from the 19, field goal. 1st and 10 from the 14, turnover on downs is how all those drives ended. It's inexcusable. It's absolutely inexcusable. And for Baker, I know people are going to kill Odell because he finally said something that, granted, it wasn't to media, but it was within earshot of media because it was on the sideline, and he wore those goofy Joker cleats. But for Odell to not have more than 4 red zone targets this year is an embarrassment and a failure of coaching. For Odell's only touchdown this year to have come on the slant and go where he had to run 80 yards with the football is an indictment on the coaching and the quarterback play up to this point this season.
Listen, coming into the season, all we talked about was how skilled this team seemingly is at almost every position. There's no way they can't win. They got a quarterback who was lights out towards the end of last season. They've got Odell Beckham. They've got Chubb. They've got Myles Garrett on both sides of the ball. A new, fresh head coach. I mean, things were promising. And then you look at where they are right now, and then you hear comments like what Odell made. And I understand it. I get it, especially you see it on that play. Have they wasted Odell Beckham on this team this year?
Well, it certainly feels like it. I mean, they didn't trade for Odell Beckham Jr. and thinking they were going to be a 2-6 team at the halfway point of the season, but that's exactly what's happened. And so what everybody has to do is take a step back and look in the mirror, because the job that they've done up until this point isn't nearly good enough. And so we knew coming into this year it was going to be a question mark on what was going to happen with this team once they hit adversity. Well, adversity's here now. And so we'll get an opportunity to see whether they're able to rally or whether or not this thing is going to fall apart. But, I mean, this team has underwhelmed in terms of their performance. And the fact is, Jenna, I don't trust the leadership within the organization to help these young guys get this thing turned around. I just don't.
And, no, they're not going to rally. The time to rally was yesterday. You're facing a Denver team who's starting a quarterback no one has ever seen since the University of Arkansas a half-decade ago. The time to rally was if you do look at the schedule, not only your own schedule, but they didn't know Baltimore was going to beat the Patriots. It's okay, we win. Baltimore probably loses. Then all of a sudden, we're 3-5. They're 5-3. Like, we've already beat them once. We get them again. Now you play Buffalo. Buffalo's been better than them all year. Then you play Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh all of a sudden is won 3 in a row. Browns ain't won 3 games all year. Listen, I was the captain of this bandwagon. I got to own it. Like, it's not that the bandwagon's off the track. It is flipped over. It's engulfed in flames, and no one's pulling anyone out of it. I mean, this is a lost season for this organization, and the type of season that can not only undo the goodwill of last year, but make you feel the worst Cleveland can feel, which is same old Browns.
Bill Parcells used to say it all the time. The best players don't always make the best team, but the best team always wins. Everybody made the Cleveland Browns the offseason champion.
Yep.
Look at where they are right now.
You mentioned Brandon Allen. Brandon Allen, Josh Allen, Kyle Allen are combined 12-3 this season. Baker Mayfield, with all that promise, Heisman first pick, all of it, 2-6. Take a break. Coming up, can the Cowboys avoid an upset against the Giants tonight? A little Monday Night Football chat next on First Things First.
What would the Allen parlay have won yesterday?